When COVID comes to an end, hopefully, and when I say that, I mean the pandemic and the road closures and everything, right? When London starts growing again, all these LTNs that are everywhere in London, you are going to see gridlock traffic everywhere. What would you do with the LTNs?
Yeah, the mayor funds them, so I'd stop funding them. They're put in by the boroughs, so it's debatable whether the mayor would have absolute power to get rid of them, but I'd do everything I can to get rid of them. They're also funded by Westminster as well, who sometimes give. In London, they get the funding, it goes from Westminster to the mayor to the boroughs. So I can stop funding new ones.
Well, that's the funny thing. We've got a Conservative government, but really, we got a Conservative government at number 10, but it's like having a Liberal Green coalition.
Exactly,
because Boris talks about getting the economy moving, but at the same time, he's funding shutting down the roads and shutting down London.
Yeah.
How's he doing it?
It doesn't make any sense. And he's playing a very, very clever game because he's doing this. He's funding it ultimately with grant chaps. They're giving the money for these things to happen. But he's blaming the boroughs. It is the boroughs' fault, mostly Labour boroughs, some Tory boroughs. Sadiq Khan is at fault as well for putting them in because he's funding it. But he's like standing back and pretending it's all somebody else who's doing it. Yeah, whereas it's Tory and Labour and Green, they're all working together to get these road blockages in because a word or a phrase that I've started to hear over the last year to do with this green agenda are 15-minute neighbourhoods. So the sort of our green ideology that you've got is we will get everybody, everything that they will need will be available to someone within a 15-minute journey from their house. So they want to try to keep everybody in their neighbourhood so people don't sort of go out and move around that much. And so part of these road blockages...
Eastern Germany, that's called, isn't it?
Yeah, well, you can walk out, you can take your bicycle out, but of course... most people can't get very far on their bicycles as much as you can with a car. So you will be restricted in your movements. So saying, well, we're not stopping people from having a car, but basically there's only one entrance in and out of your neighbourhood, which is always chock-a-block and congested, and that stops people from moving around. So the whole thing is to completely change the way we live and our way of life. And, people who are into the whole green agenda, it's what they call it, Build Back Better or the Green New Deal, doesn't matter what terminology.
They've got loads of little catchphrases together.
Yeah, they're all trying to do these things and stop people from using their own vehicles and having the freedom to move around. That's going to kill London. People need to move around. They get the buses, great, but they also need to be able to move around in cars, in taxis, and especially emergency vehicles. They need access. And also business vehicles. Businesses still need, tradesmen still need to go in with their service vehicles and so on.